Okay, so the two main concepts that I want to give you, these are the absolute most important. There are other ones that are also very important and very useful, but these are the absolute main concepts. So what we see here is you have the spring saeculum, which is a 4-generation time block. And that means that each one of these spring, summer, autumn, winter all have a spring nature to them. So you have a spring of spring, a summer of spring, an autumn of spring, and a winter of spring. So the winter of spring is probably it's probably the least bad of the winters that you could have. I mean, arguably, I suppose the winter of summer perhaps would be the least bad, since it is at the opposite side of the meta-saeculum. It depends. In any case, this is a springtime block. So each one of these different seasons is going to be subject to an overarching seasonal flavor and theme. Now, if you go through a full revolution, you will have one meta-saeculum. So 4 generations is a saeculum, and 16, a full revolution, is a meta-saeculum. Now, this thing repeats. This wheel spins, or this shell is growing. Or rather, it could be that it's a circle, but we're looking down through the tube. So it's moving around, but forward, and we're just looking back at it. So you have this meta-saeculum, and then you see it's going back in a layer. And so then we have here, which is the next layer. And so what's going on here, what we find is that things that happen in a winter of spring in the past, a meta-saeculum in the past, are going to be very similar in character and even with actual characters to events that happen in a spring up here in another layer. So what is going on here is when you have two saeculums from different meta-saeculums that are moving in the same direction, you have a meta-saecular parallel. And so what you can say is, oh, I can expect events that happened here to be similar to events that happened here, and events that happen here to be similar in character and nature to events that happen here. And this goes for inventions, philosophical, religious movements, political movements, wars, even in the specific locations, they will be very similar. Okay, so that is, I mean, even here you see that the first Elizabethan age is over here, coming from roughly the summer of winter up into the summer of spring, and even further for us. But anyway, you have this first Elizabethan age, and it turns out you come out a layer and you have Elizabeth II. In addition, Puritan awakening, and other you have Martin Luther King up here, and you have Martin Luther being very, very important, a layer in, albeit just a couple generations back. This may be a slight error that needs correction, or there might be a relation. In any case, there is a relation, though, because Martin Luther was in a summer, which is awakening. But my point is, you see common names showing up in pretty much the same places all the way around the map. Now, this is the second and other very important thing, and I got to squeeze it in 2 minutes and 30 seconds. Now, events that happen in one part of the map are going to be dialectically related to events 180 degrees across the map. So you will find, for example, U.S. Civil War. What were the two main, and I'm going to give like the simplest version here. I'm sure there are people who might debate me on finer points. But what are the two main issues in the U.S. Civil War? Well, you have a struggle between the federal government and the state governments. And you have two social issues, which are race and class at play. And then there are a number of other things, but we're not going to mention them. So those are the two issues down here. Now, 180 degrees to the top, you have very similar issues that are at play in this crisis that were not at play in the World War II crisis, at least not as precisely, and also not at play in the American Revolution. So, I mean, they were there a little bit, but not in the same way. This is a very direct correspondence. And so what we call this is a complementary contrast. And there are endless numbers of distinct complementary contrasts across this map. I found one the other day when I was thinking on February 14th, I was thinking about Pearl Harbor. I thought, is there a complementary contrast for a Western conflict in the Pacific in Hawaii? We had ours in 1942? And it turned out Captain Cook, 1776 to 79, is in Hawaii, and he gets murdered in Hawaii on February 14th, 1779. So that is the cross-saecular complementary contrast or dialectical contrast. And then these two things here are the meta-saecular parallels, and there will be more to come.
She's in my